Oh, you made it now, baby. Oh, you made it to 3T. Come on and get this tea. Come on and get this tea. Come on and get this tea. Ooh. Oh, you made it now, baby. Oh, you made it to 3T. Come on and get this tea. Come on and get this tea. Come on and get this tea. Ooh. Oh, you made it now, baby. Oh, you made it to 3T. Come on and get this tea. Come on and get this tea. Ooh. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to the ride. Doesn't that sound nice? I like a little music, a little something. I hope you all are having a wonderful evening. It is a wonderful Friday evening. I'm very thankful that we are here. Let me know if you can hear me. I see we have 2 people in the chat already, and so I'm very happy to see you all. Zoe, I see you in the background. Can you hear me? Well, good. Awesome. Thank you all for coming. The first people I saw Amy and I saw Corey. So thank you all for coming. Please do me a favor and share the feed. Tonight is a very, very important night for 3T and for Zoe Touray and for the for her communities. So I want to make sure that we get as many people on as possible on this feed. So I hope that you all are having a wonderful evening, and that you are headed for a very restful and just a good weekend to have a great time. As you know, this is Topics, Tantrums, and Tea. I would love for you to okay, great. Miss Corey said loud and clear. Awesome. So as you see, I'm not in my regular space. I am elsewhere tonight. But I've been on the road moving and grooving with Miss Zoe Touray as she is doing her thing, and we'll talk more about that very, very soon. Very, very soon. Let me just again thank you for coming, and let me share. Let me just wait a little later for that. So as you all know, we kick back very. It's a very low key, very kickback kind of hangout, and we're gonna do the same thing tonight. I do want to give Zoe an opportunity to really share her story. We get a lot of questions about her experience as an Oxford shooting survivor, right? A lot of questions, many of which she doesn't necessarily answer or doesn't necessarily talk. But tonight we're going to have a heart-to-heart and just give her an opportunity and a space to share with us. If you all have questions, we can answer some of those questions and have a little bit of conversation about not only her experience as an Oxford shooting survivor, but what she is doing currently, or how she has been able to and is getting ready to change, in other ways, her pain into passion. So that's why I'm excited about her being able to share her story with you all, and just share her story with the community that has raised her and continues to do so. So that is what we're going to do tonight. So I have Zoe waiting in the waiting room. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her in to the stream. So you all welcome Zoe to the ride. So for those of you who may be watching now or later who don't know, Zoe Touray is my daughter. And so when we talked about doing this interview, we talked about what it would look like, what it would feel like. And I told her, we're just going to kick back and talk like we normally talk, It is a serious, we do a lot of laughing though, and a lot of laughing and joking. We don't do a whole lot of that tonight because it is a very serious subject. And again, I just want to give you all an opportunity to get a chance to ask your questions and give her an opportunity to share with you all her experiences. From her experience as a survivor and moving forward. So whatever questions you might have, you all get your thoughts together, and we're going to get started. So Zoe, how you doing tonight?
Good. Tired. Long day.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad that we have an opportunity to do this live again now, and for people who will get an opportunity to listen to it later. So do me a favor, if you are here, that please share the feed. We want to share with as many people as possible. But I do want to start this from a place of power and end in a place of power. So, Zoe, tell me now. How about you just tell it, or just tell us, not just me. Tell us right now. How do you feel? How do you currently feel at the moment, in respect to your experience as a shooting survivor? And I mean, I know what happened. We'll get to that later. But today, October 28th, 8:12 p.m. How do you feel as a survivor of that Oxford shooting?
I definitely feel like it was hard going through the situation, but like you said, turning your pain into passion has been really, really awesome to be able to turn a lot of that grief and like the stuff that I dealt with at home and with like you and dad and with like the family privately, to turn it into something a lot greater. And have me be able to get to the point where I can do this show and do interviews and do advocacy, travel, and go to all these different fun places.
Let me ask everyone, are you hearing Zoe loud and clear? Please somebody let me know in the chat if you're hearing her loud and clear. Because when she starts to tell, to really share her story, I want to make sure that everybody is getting it. Everybody is hearing everything. I don't see anything yet, so we'll keep going. I guess maybe the way to start is I really just want you to be comfortable, and I want to be comfortable too. I want those listening to be comfortable, as well as again, just be able to get a gist of really what you've experienced. So tell us your name, your name. Tell us where you went. Tell us. Okay, Miss Corey. That's what I was waiting for. Corey says Zoe is a little low.
Do I just need to speak up? Am I like quiet, or is it like
a little better? I mean, it is for me.
Okay.
Corey, what are you saying? Can you turn up your volume a little bit, Zoe?
Turn it up.
Okay. Your audio. Okay, and we'll see if that makes a difference. Corey, let me know if it makes a difference. So, tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into your real story. Tell us a little bit about your high school experience at Oxford prior to the shooting.
Now that we bonded a little bit, I guess after, I love it so much. But when I first started, it was definitely a lot harder because I would come home with like a lot of different racial incidents and like little things that happened that made me like in the office, and not necessarily like my fault, but just to deal with like a lot of what happened. So a lot of that was happening when I first started out as a freshman. It was definitely really, really hard for me to like navigate. And obviously, because you helped me with it, but it was a lot of difficulty because I wasn't really confident in myself back then. And then as we got to like sophomore year, I started to get a little more comfortable. So I guess I just got more comfortable as the years progressed, and then senior year being the most comfortable because I was like the king of the school.
So prior to the shooting, you would say you were by that time, well, you were a senior in the shooting. Or during the shooting, but by that time you had become pretty acclimated to your surroundings, or as an Oxford high school student, or at that time not only a high school student but a senior, right?
Yeah, I definitely learned how to navigate like the sea a lot better, of like being in a PWI and versus like predominantly white institution versus like going to like Pontiac High or something like that.
Right, because you were not raised in a predominantly white area, but in Pontiac and in your area, which is predominantly black. That's true. Right. But you handled it, right? You handled it little by little, day by day. So I want you to I do want you to talk a little bit about, I know that when you go through your interviews and stuff, a lot of times people ask you about the particular day, what happened on November 30th. And oftentimes you kind of scoop past it quick, and people don't get an opportunity. I know that people really want to know, they want some detail about what you experienced on that day, right? And in preparation for this, I asked you, what did you want to deal with? And you said, well, we can just kick it. So what I want you to do is, I know what happened the day of, because I was there with you, in spirit and by text, right?
Yep.
But I want you to just kind of share with people, you know, how did your day start? What happened on November 30th? Take us from, if you can, if you can, take us from your the time you woke up that morning till the time you got home at night. Just kind of tell us what happened on November 30th.
I don't think I scooped past it, but I just had to go back. But so I just recently did this in op-ed actually where I had to go through the morning. So I remember exactly what I wore that day. I got up for school and it was like 5:30 in the morning because that's when my alarm goes off. So I got up for school and I had a previously picked out outfit from the night before. So gray jeans with 4 rips in them, exactly 4. Busted old Nikes, a brown crop top, and this like brown long sleeve shirt that I got from like H&M or something. So I remember I was thinking like, oh, I'm going to school and be so cute today. And then I got up into the same makeup routine that I'd done like every day, pretty much every day for like the past 3 months of school. We got on the bus, went to school. For whatever reason, I guess once we got to school, I just kind of wasn't in a really good mood. And so all of my day kind of like blended together for like all the other days of high school. Like I went to first, second, third hour, fourth hour, and I was just really annoyed with everybody. And then we got to lunch, and I remember I was like, okay, maybe after seeing all my friends from like different classes and stuff that I like spend more time with, they'll like help me feel better. And so we left lunch and we went to this place. Oxford has this thing called a senior window where you can go and stand, and all the seniors go stand and talk and communicate with one another, and just throughout classes, between classes. And sometimes we would skip class and go there sometimes, or other people would for the most part. But like for maybe a few minutes or during just whatever time that you went to go as a senior. And so we would go to the senior window after we had lunch, which I had a lunch, which is right after fourth hour. And so we got out of a lunch and went to the senior window like we normally do. And I remember we were talking and I still wasn't like particularly in a really good mood. And so I had one of my good friends, Ella, say we were like headed to class because we normally stay a lot later, but none of us wanted to be late that day for whatever reason, thankfully. So we were headed back to class. And she goes, do you guys hear that like those sounds, those like pops? And she was like, somebody's like popping balloons or something. And we were just like, no, we don't hear anything. And so I know a few of us said like we did, but I didn't hear anything. And so we walked to class, and I remember my phone was about to die, so I went to charge it. And I like went to raise my hand to use the bathroom, and then the like school in the lockdown, they said there was like gonna be a drill or something like that. And so
where does the information come from?
What's it called? The PAs, like the PA system.
PA system. Okay.
So they were telling us to like lock down the classrooms and everything. And I remember my teacher being pretty nervous because it was only like his second year there, and he's a pretty young teacher. And so he was really nervous about it. But at least for us, we all thought it was kind of a joke. And so we just all assumed that, not necessarily a joke, but we didn't take it very seriously because we thought it was just a normal like drill. And so we were all just kind of sitting around talking and laughing and everything, and our lights were still on. And he ended up turning them off and telling us to all sit in the front of the classroom and like closing the door and like shutting the window, the little window that's in the door of like plexiglass. And so we went and sat in the front, and I was with one of my friends. Her name's Kendall. And so I was sitting with Kendall, and one of her friends FaceTimes her, and it's like screaming and crying and like driving frantically away from the school. And she's just screaming like, he's dead, he's dead, he's dead. And so we're thinking, oh my God. And I remember that really upset the teacher and made him a little nervous because we had no idea what was going on yet. And so we like all got on our phones eventually, of course, and we saw like on Snapchat people fleeing the school and like running from the school, but nobody knew what was wrong, and they were taking videos.
Okay, stop. I just want to back up a little bit because I see other people coming on, and I know I don't want them to miss pieces, but I also want just a little more detail about where you are at this time. So at this point, you are in the classroom, right? And you and Kendall and others start getting information from the PA system. And the information says what exactly to you? What do you all hear from the PA system?
To me, a lot of people it's a lot of conflict on what people heard. I heard lockdown drill, and then they said lockdown, like for sure. I heard drill, but I didn't know.
Okay. So at that point, when you all hear lockdown drill, what's going on now? And what's going on in your mind? What are you feeling at that moment when you hear lockdown drill?
None of us thought it was like serious. And so we were like, okay, just a normal drill. So
when you said, I do remember, I don't remember exactly where you began to text me, but I do know that when you first texted me, you didn't know it was real.
Yeah.
right? So I'm assuming that's when you text me, it was after you heard the stuff on the PA. Because I know at first, not only did you not know it was real, you thought it was, if I remember correctly, you thought that it was maybe a something that wasn't real, and that you would maybe be able to get out of class. Isn't that correct?
I think it was because I wanted you to. Oh wait, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I think I wanted you to. Oh my God, I forgot about that. I blocked that off because I remember I texted you and I was trying to get out of school and I wanted you to come pick me up.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was oh my God, I forgot because I thought it was a lockdown drill. So I was like, because I had told my friends I wanted to do something to get you to come pick me up that day because I just wasn't feeling school. I was in a bad mood. And so I was like, I'm just going to say I'm sick or something and get my mom to come get me. And they're like, just call your mom. And I said, there's no way Vicky Touray is coming to Oxford to come pick me up. And so then I remember when that happened, I was like, oh my God, this is the perfect excuse for her to come get me from school because I don't feel like being here. And then it turned out it's something else.
That's interesting. I remember that. I remember because I remember when I remember exactly where I was and what I was doing. I was on a computer and I was working. And when you called before you text, right? You called me first.
That I don't remember, but
yeah, I'm gonna tell you how I remember, because you called and it was in your playing mood, and you said I don't remember exactly what you said, but I knew that you were in a playing mood and you were trying to get out of there. And you said, "Oh, that it was a lockdown drill," or blah, 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 or something like that. And I said, "Really?" And as we talked, and I realized that you were just trying to get out of class, I hung up. I said, "Zoe, get off my phone," and blah blah blah. Whatever I said.
Yeah.
You hung up, but after you hung, and you called me twice, because when you called me back, you said, something is wrong.
I think that's when Kendall called, her friend had called her crying and stuff, and I was like, oh my God.
Okay. Because I remember this too. I remember that when you called me back, at that point, I believe is when your teacher gave you all a message to let y'all know something was going on. And at that point, you started whispering because he told you to be quiet or something, right? Take me there. You remember that?
Why? I just blocked all of this out.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you what happened.
No, I remember because he was telling me he was telling us to get off of our phones and stuff because I was being loud and I was like, oh my God, something's going on. Mm-hmm. Kendall's friend had called her and I was like, oh my God. Mm-hmm. How do you remember that? I guess I just blocked it out. I don't remember.
Because that was my experience on the other side,
I forgot about all of that.
Yeah. And so when you told me,
he was telling us to be quiet because he wanted to hear over the PA what was being said.
Mm-hmm.
And then my phone was about to die because that's when I went to grab my phone because my phone was on 5%. And I went to charge it and it was only at 11. And then I grabbed my phone to call you. Mm-hmm. And it just kept going down and going until it died and you couldn't get contact with me and stuff.
But before it went down, wait, let's stop let's stop right there. Let's do a station break right there. We'll talk about, help me get back, y'all. Right before her phone went dead, we had another bit of a conversation and we'll talk about that. So those of you who are just coming on, Zoe Touray, you are with 3T, Topics Tantrum and T. I am interviewing the esteemed national speaker, because she is now a national speaker with an organization we'll talk about in a minute. But as a result of her experience as an Oxford high school shooting victim. And she is my daughter as well, which is why I was able to get this interview. So, big ups to pregnancy. What can I say?
Oh my God.
But anyway, we'll talk more about that. But listen, what I want to do before we go any farther is I'll say this, and then we'll go a little further in her story. And that is, she is turning her pain as an Oxford shooting survivor into power, into passion, and into power. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. So I want you all to be in on that. Please don't leave. Please share the feed as she continues the story. And you all are welcome to ask questions. You can do that in the chat as well. And we may even give some of you an opportunity to come on if you would like to come on and talk with Zoe as she, when she finishes her story. So I'm picking up at a point that she forgot, but I remembered, and then she can pick the story up from there. But right before the phone died, before your phone died, you were talking, but I couldn't hear because he started telling you all to be quiet. Shh. But that's also when I heard the real fear in your voice at that moment. That's when I heard the fear.
Why are you just not recalling this? Because I forgot about all this.
You remember it now, though, right?
Yeah,
yeah. Well, because of the trauma, because of your trauma, that's why you forgot it. But yeah, so I started really hearing the fear in your voice, and your voice started quivering.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I couldn't hear you. That's when I knew something was really going on, and I couldn't hear you. And I said, Zoe, remember I said to you, hang up and text me.
Yeah, because I remember that now, and because I'm about to go back to our text messages.
You have those text messages still?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
You don't have that still?
Well, you know, I got
them the other day.
Remember? But yeah, before those texts, before your phone.
I forgot you said hang up and call me, and I was like, oh my god, like we're about to, like, you know.
Miss Corey has a.
Thank you.
She says, I'm so appreciative of Zoe sharing. Zoe is looking like a model, though. Hugs and kisses.
You know, that's true.
So, okay. So thank you, Corey.
Thank you.
So, so you text me on we have several back and forths where I realize something is going on and you realize something is going on. What I think was interesting, Zoe, what I do think was interesting was that you were not feeling it that day.
Yeah, I remember I told you that I wasn't in a good mood. I was mad, and I kept trying to get you to come get me. I remember all day I was trying to plan, like, I'm gonna fake throw up or I'm gonna do something I don't want to be here today.
Now, see, I never really thought about that part of it.
I did, because somebody made a point to me about it the other day. I remember I was like, I don't, and Emma, like, well, you know who Emma is, but Emma and them just kept saying, get your mom, and I'm like, there's no way, Vicky's not coming up here to pick me up. I'm telling you, she's not coming up here to pick me up. They're like, just say you're sick, and I just kept trying to think of what to say, and I remember I was like, not perfect, I can't wait to go home.
That's really interesting, because I'm just thinking about that for the first time, that you really were trying to get me to come and get you that day, and I was just not like, nope, not gonna do it.
I wish you could have come gotten me up.
That's interesting. Okay, so keep going.
What was that? You told
me the fact that you and I text back and forth, but we probably should talk about those texts before your phone died.
Get them right now. I have to go back it's a long time ago. And I remember I got so many texts. I was looking at a text from Jalivia the other day because I was texting about going to Wayne State for a March for Our Lives thing. And the last thing Jalivia and I were texting about was that day. And she was like, oh my God, are you okay? I forgot, like, because I had a lot of, like, Omisha reached out to me that day, and I remember people were, like, texting me. And I forgot that's the last thing Jalivia ever texted me.
So you mean Jalivia, your cousin?
Mm.
Really?
And we hadn't talked in forever, but she texted me and she said, oh my God, are you okay?
Huh.
Yeah, this is November 30th.
You got it.
November 30th, active shooter drill. People are leaving, my class is stuck in school. You said a drill means it's not real. I said, no, it was supposed to be a drill. You said people are leaving, but your class is stuck. And I said, everyone is leaving crying. I don't know where anyone is. All my friends are out. My mom's scared. I don't know where Abu is. Text him and see, please. And you said, who's in there with you? Who's in there with you? And I said, a teacher and some friends. Someone was shot. I don't know who. You said, I know, I just got an email, but the sheriffs are in the building now. And I said, they say at least 3 were shot. I love you. You said, don't panic. I didn't hear that, though. Don't panic. Stay calm. I don't feel fear. And I said, yeah.
I know exactly. Yeah, I remember that myself. Yeah, I remember that. Go ahead.
And then I said, yeah, okay. And then I didn't answer for a while because you said, just keep texting me. And he said, Abu's fine. I just texted with him. He's in the men's locker room. Well, what's your room number? And he said, what's your room number? And you said, Emma, because I was worried about Emma. You said, Emma's waiting. Police haven't made it to her yet. Police is with Abu now. And that's when my phone was like dying. So I was trying not to conserve like my power. And I said, he's not answering. Where is he? He said, Abu is in the locker room with the police. And I texted pretty. I don't think I meant to text that, but my phone was like dying. And then you said, Emma's at Meyer, and I believe Abu is too. I can't get through to him anymore. If you see him, take him with you all. I'll pick you both up from Emma's house. I said, okay, but I don't see him. But people said there are buses there, and I'm almost there, and Emma's good, and so is Dejanay. You said, I just spoke with him and just gave him Emma's number before his phone dies. I'll wait that way at 3, or make myself that way at 3:30 after the traffic dies down. I said, okay, good. And you said, I know, I spoke with both of them. And I said, thank you. And I just started texting you a bunch of people that I said our friend and Emma's cousin died, and I texted you again and said another one of our friends died. And that was the last thing I said on that day.
That just took me back.
I know, I'm about to cry.
That just took me back.
Oh.
Man, that just took me back.
Yeah, I forgot I texted you all.
I forgot we had all that conversation too, but I remember now. And for those of you who are just pulling in, all of those texts came from the fact that once we came to the conclusion that there was something really going on, then I ended up texting not like three or four kids. I had you in a text ring. I had my son in a text ring. I had one of Zoe's best friends in a text ring, because between Zoe and me and Abu and Emma and Emma's mom, there were texts flying back and forth from and Emma's brother, because remember, I didn't talk to him, but his mom was in contact with him and Emma was in contact with her mom. So there were people on the inside of the building and people on the outside of the building trying to keep in contact until we got everybody outside of the building that we possibly could have. Me being in Pontiac, the kids being in the school, and thank God, Carrie, which is Emma's mom, being on the outside of the building to capture my children before I could get to them. So it was just like, oh my gosh. Man.
I'm about to cry. I forgot I said all that.
I forgot all about those details.
Because I remember I was looking back at them a couple weeks ago or something. I just screenshot them because I kind of want to keep those for memories. But yeah, so basically my friend's friend called her and was on FaceTime with her, and that's when everybody kind of but no, what was I saying? I forgot.
You stopped, I think, because you were reading Corey's message, and Corey said, that took me out. I'm outdone. Nothing but the grace of God. I can't imagine the fear and the helplessness. That's exactly what it was, Corey. It was fear and help. This is what I never told you, Zoe. I don't know if I told you since it was over or not. But when I text you and you just read it where I said I don't feel any fear.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. I shared this with somebody else, but I don't know if I shared it with you. I did feel fear, but I didn't feel any for you.
Yeah, you told me that.
Yeah. And I didn't want to say that to you because I didn't want you to be like, oh.
Yeah.
But once we got to that point in the conversation, I felt fear, but I just didn't feel any for you. And I all I could think of was just to keep saying the things that I felt would keep you calm, so that you wouldn't freak out. Really. Yours stopped. Okay, I think it's picking back up now. I'm sorry. I think it is bear with us, you all. I think it is the connection, but it's gonna pick up again because mine and there you are. Can you see? Are you live now? Perfect.
Yeah, I heard you.
Perfect. I want to go back. I was saying, I felt some fear, but I didn't feel any fear for you at that point. But let me tell you this part, which Sharanda Bell says, that's a mother's love. Yeah. It wasn't easy though, Sharanda. I'm telling you, it was something else. Because what's interesting is I'm pretty intuitive too. But that day, I didn't get anything until we got to this space in this conversation, which probably is good. Because if I had felt all of that stuff earlier, I don't know if I could even help you, guide you through those conversations. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know if I could have done it.
Yeah, and I remember when my phone died, you were like, cool. Emma was like, your mom has been blowing my phone up. What is going on? I said, my phone died. I don't know. Yeah. And I didn't have a charger because they made us drop our bags and they had my charger in it. So I just didn't have a way of and I remember we got in Isabella's car. And the one I said I wasn't running fast enough. And she was like, Zoe, come on. She grabbed me. Her mom let me sit in her car and use her car charger until I had to get out and find Abu.
Wow. I want to go back to some of those details, but I'm going to stop right here and take another station break and let people know that Zoe Touray is an Oxford shooting survivor. She's also my daughter. And we wanted to share because we get a lot of questions about what she has, what what her experience was like that day. And I do not want to, let me just say this before I go any further, because I don't want to take light of the fact that people lost their children in this shooting. So I don't want to make light of that. I want to make sure that you all understand. I want to be very thankful that my daughter is with me, that my son is still with me, but I also want to give reverence to the fact that some parents from Oxford and other schools, we're just focusing on Oxford for the moment, but some parents they're not able to have a conversation like I am with Zoe after the fact. And I really do feel bad about that. I really feel bad about it. I kept thinking when this was over, I kept thinking about how we complain about picking our children up from schools. You know, you have to stop what you're doing and go and get them and that kind of thing. But that day that those parents, mothers and fathers lost their babies, I got to thinking how horrible that must be to all of a sudden, you know, and I'm sure they've done the same thing. You know, you get frustrated because you got to do this, but you got to go get the kids too. You got to stop what you're doing, especially if you're running your own business, or if you're working, you know, you got to leave work and go get the kids when maybe you need to stay a little longer. But I shudder to think what it must have felt like for those parents on November 30th when they dropped their babies off in the morning, but they were not there to pick them up in the afternoon. That's you know, my heart goes out to those people. I thought about them, of course, more so around, you know, November 30th, of course, it's holiday season. And I know they were used to having their babies around their tables, and they weren't there for those holidays. They weren't there for New Year's, and they weren't there to take, you know, pictures in fuzzy socks and that kind of stuff. So my heart goes out to them. I just want to say a prayer. You ought to do the same thing. I'm sure you probably already have, but if you hadn't thought about it, you know, say a prayer for those families who are not having a discussion with their daughter tonight because their daughters and their sons are not available for that on this side. So, all right. So, Zoe Touray is an Oxford shooting survivor, and she also is my daughter. While she had she's had a tumultuous time, you know, since this tragic event, she has found a way to turn her pain into what I'm calling passion and power. And we want to talk a little bit about that. That is going to be at an event that she's doing next month, and I'll let her tell you more about that. But before I do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the chat, if it comes up, nope, that's not it. In a moment, I'm going to put in the chat a link to a project that she's doing. And I think that you may be interested in it, and then she'll tell you about it as well. So let me try to put it in the chat, though, so that they can hit it if they want to hit it. And I can't do it. It's not working for me, but I'm going to figure it out. Oh, I know what to do. So what we'll do is take a quick station break, and we'll be right back in just a moment. It'll give me an opportunity to grab this link and put it in. So just give me a moment, and we'll hit this intro one more again while I do that. Oh, you made it now, baby. Oh, you made it to 3T. Come on and get this tea. Come on and get this tea. Get this tea. Okay, we're back. Unfortunately, I still cannot work this out. So Zoe, why don't you do me a favor and see if you can copy that URL, the same one you just sent me for Facebook, and put it in the chat if you can, because it will not work for me.
I see like a private chat, but I don't see how to put it in the comments.
You don't see a at the bottom post comment? Even if you see it in a private chat, that'll be fine too.
Okay.
So we are here with Zoe Touray, who is an Oxford shooting survivor. She is sharing her story with us. And so if you are watching tonight with us, we appreciate your joining. We have an opportunity to ask questions if you like to. Please do that. You can do that in the chat. Did you see it, Zoe?
I just sent the face like in the private chat.
You did do it in private chat.
Yeah.
Oh, I see it. Perfect. Yep. So let me see if I can copy from the private chat if it'll let me do that at least.
I was saying you can also just go to my Facebook page, but we're here too.
Awesome. Got it. Bam. Thank you. That worked. All right. So what I have put in the chat is a Facebook link to the event that Zoe is doing. So let's do this.
Wait, you can't like click on the link though.
But they can copy it.
Oh.
Yep, they copy it and go straight to it, and probably may even be able to touch it, and then it gives you an option to, right click on it and go straight to it. So I wanted to get to Corey's comment. She said, "This is evidence of the prophecy being passed to another generation. Tap all the way in, Zoe. Tap all the way in." So she's commending you for being sensitive enough to know that something was wrong, and that is really important. Because I was saying earlier, I'm usually pretty intuitive, but I wasn't feeling anything until we got into the middle of that conversation. That's where I want to take you back, Zoe, so I could talk a little bit about how I knew, how it really became evident to me that something was going on. So you and I were going back and forth, but once you start, I said to you, text me, because I can't hear what you're saying. That's when I started feeling like something's going on. Right. And I started my hair started standing up. And I remember that no sooner did it hit me, okay, this is something really happening. The phone rang and it was your Auntie Tanya. I don't know if you remember. No, it was either Tanya or Auntie Mary, one of them.
But I didn't know either of them called you about it.
Oh yeah.
It had to be Auntie Tanya because Omisha texted me.
I think it was Auntie Mary first, honestly. But it didn't matter. Both of them called me. But the first one to call me said, now mind you, let me let everybody know, I'm sitting there with my cell phone. I've been texting with her. We don't know anything specific is happening, but that's right when I started feeling like something is not right. I get a phone call. I pick up the phone and it's either Auntie Tanya or Auntie Mary. And they say to me, I say hello. And they say, what's going on in Oxford? When I hear that, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt something is really wrong.
Yeah, because a lot of people are like watching the news and stuff.
Right, because I wasn't watching the news.
Yeah, and like all the helicopters are around on them.
Okay, so when she said that to me, I didn't say nothing because I wanted to know, what do you know? So I'd really know if this was legitimate. And I said, nothing. Why would you say that? And then she said, because I'm sitting here watching the news and they said that it's a shooter. That's when now my bells are like, now really, I know, oh my goodness, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. That was a whole nother level.
Yeah, I remember.
So now I'm still sitting at my computer, my fingers on the tab, but now I realize, whoa.
Where were you? You never told me where you were at.
I was at home on my computer working. Mm-hmm. And at that's when I immediately stopped and I called your father. Now, here's what's interesting too, because he's also pretty intuitive. He didn't pick anything up. And that was
I was the only one that picked something up that day.
You was the only one that really picked anything up that day.
I wasn't like picked it up. I just didn't want to go to school.
But that's because you were sensitive to something not being right and you weren't trying to go. Do you remember when we had that conversation with remember the chamber did the therapy sessions for you all, and they did those programs. Oh, you didn't go to this one. We did a program at the Fillmore downtown where they could come and do some therapeutic activities, and there was lunch or dinner or whatever. one of the young men that came, I remember saying, and his mother was with him. He was also, he was a student, of course, of Oxford. And I remember him saying that he didn't want to go to school that day. He kept telling his mother he didn't want to go to school that day. And his mother was she felt really guilty about it, and she was just crying and crying. And he was telling us the story, and he said, but she wouldn't really listen to me. He said, but I didn't feel like going. I just felt like I don't need to go today. And she was crying, and she said, but I made him go. I made him go. I said, but
who would have thought that like this time?
Yeah, she thought like I thought. You just trying to get out of But she was really, really feeling guilty about it. Thankfully, we had a therapist on hand that could talk to her about it. But she was really carrying the guilt of not being in tuned enough to feel what her son was feeling. And I think that that's kind of normal, or it can be normal, in a world where we're just going and doing and doing and going and going and doing. And when you're going and doing, you don't always have time to feel, because we're trying to get so much done that you don't have time to feel. So I'm just very thankful that, again, that we can even talk about it today, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But so if someone has questions, as I said, you can go ahead and share. If not, or until somebody shares a question, why don't you take me to, how did you get out? Let them know how you got out of that school.
I don't know if it's necessarily like a sign language thing, or like, this is always something like I bring up because I was in sign language class.
Come a little closer because your voice is getting faint.
I don't know if it's necessarily like a sign language things we were in. I like to think it was because we were in sign language class. We were in ASL 1. But I remember when everything was happening, we were like all sitting down, we were just kind of waiting to get out. So we were kind of had this like little plan. And so our teacher was talking to us. And I will always be so thankful to Mr. Cortez. I actually don't have contact with him now, but I so wish I did. But he would, we had this little meeting. So he came in front of, because there was a whole series of events that got us to the back of the classroom, because we were in the front when I was like texting you at first and everything. But got to the back of the classroom. He had this talk with us, and he was like, when we get the chance, we're going to run. So we're going to go through these windows. And so he's like, we're not going to break because they're like windows that were the sizes of doors. So like, they're just like these really big, they almost took up a wall. So these big windows. So he's like, when we get the chance, me and so-and-so and so-and-so are going to open these doors and we're all going to run. And I remember there came like a knock at the door after like a little while. And then the knocking went away and we were like, oh my God. So everybody was freaking out.
So then, the knock at the door. So I know what happened, but I know they don't.
But this is this is before that.
Okay, but you're in the classroom and all doors are locked. You all are barricaded in the classroom, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody's coming, nobody's going on purpose, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Then you hear a knock at the door, and then what?
And then it went away because they came like 3 separate times. I think it was 2 or 3.
Are these hard knocks?
Yeah, they're like knocks, and like somebody was like jiggling the door handle. And so we were like, this is this kid, he's gonna come kill us all. So we were just like, oh my God. And then it went away. And so we were like, okay. And we were just kind of biding our time. And they were like moving more stuff towards the door. And he was like waiting. He told us to give us like a sign, like a signal, basically. He's like, and when I say go, just go. And so they were working on getting the window open. You could see 2 guys, like, I think it was 2 guys. One, I remember his name, but I don't remember the other one. And he was like, they were going to get the door open or something.
Students in there with you? They were in there with you?
Yeah, students. Okay. And I was like, me and the girl, my friend Kendall, were like the only seniors in that class, and the rest were like freshmen and like maybe a few sophomores, because it's an elective that you have to take when you're a freshman, but we took it because we wanted to, because we had blow-off classes. So we were the only 2 seniors, but we were both like scared because we're like, I don't know if it's like because we're girls, but anybody would be scared in that situation. So then we like heard like a knock at the door again, and somebody jiggling the handle like maybe a few minutes later. And so then we really started to freak out. And I don't remember how much time went by, but I remember we started to hear like more bangs at the door and jiggle the handle. And they say, Oakland County Sheriff's Department, open up. And I remember my teacher went to the door and he said, I'm sorry, we can't do that. And then he said, like, they just kept saying, Oakland County Sheriff's Department, open up. And he goes, I can't do that right now. And he said, it's me, bro. Or he said, trust me, bro, I'm a police, something, come check my badge. And so when we heard the bro and like, come check our badge, we immediately, like, he gave us like a little this. And so then everybody starts rushing and kind of stampeding each other to get out of this window to run across the court. I don't know how to explain Oxford to you guys. there's just like this big plexiglass window. And so when you go these windows, there's like a, so like the windows right here, there's like a courtyard that you go across to these, they look like windows, but they're doors, and it's like all clear see-through, but they're see-through doors that you go through once you get to the other side of the courtyard to get to the other side of the building, basically. And we used to use them when we were passing classes, but you don't ever use those windows. But we jumped out of that little window, or the big window. So we jumped out of this window, ran across the courtyard to get to this other side, and we're greeted with these policemen with these like big guns. And then one of the first people I happened to see, because when we were running, I remember, I'm not like a runner, you know that. I don't like to run, but I was like running, and I wasn't running fast enough, I guess. So my friend Isabella grabbed my arm, and she's like, come on. So she's grabbing me, and the first person I see, and she like waited with me. The first person I saw was one of my like favorite administrators that all the students love, and her name's Miss Christy Gibson Marshall. And so she saw me, and she was like, I was just so happy to see her. And she goes, oh my God, Zoe, are you okay? And she came and gave me like a giant hug. And all you can hear is these police yelling at you, like, drop your bags, drop your bags, drop your bags. And I remember when they were yelling, I was thinking like, I'm not dropping my bag. So I just kept running with it on. And I remember she hugged me. She said, Zoe, take your book bag off. And she kind of slid it off me. She's like, go, get out. And so that's how we got out of the school. And the first person I saw was actually Emma's little brother. So like my best friend's little brother. And I gave him the biggest hug, or we gave each other the biggest hug because we were so happy to see each other. And then we were looking for Emma, and we couldn't find her. So that was
during the time that Emma and I were texting back and forth.
Yeah, because you were like, just calm down to send me Emma's number. And yeah, she was probably one of the last people out of the school.
Wow, I didn't realize she was one of the last out.
Yeah, she was like, remember it took her a long time to get out.
I remember that, but I didn't know she was one of the last.
I think she said if not the last classroom, she was like the third to last or second to last classroom, you know. So we were worried about her for a long time. We almost knocked each other down hugging each other. I remember that. A lot.
So yeah, that was a lot for everybody involved, and it still is. I do want to say this, or I do want you to tell us about. What was the first thing you thought? What was your, or can you remember how were you feeling? What was now I know I can imagine how you feeling. What was the first thing you thought when you realized you were clear of that building?
I remember my first thought was, I just need to get in, like, I need to charge my phone. That sounds like such a teenager-y thing, but like, hear me out. Like, if you're in a situation like that and your phone's like dead or dying, I think it was at that point, it was like, when we were running, it was like 5%. And I don't know if my phone was just like, I needed a new phone, but I remember it was like dying so fast, but I'd also been on the phone and stuff. And so at that point, it was like on 2%. So my first thought was like, I need to charge this phone. And Isabella stayed with me. So she was like my best friend in that situation. Cause I remember I talked to other friends who said they were going to drive me home. And I get it. It's like fight or flight. And I was like, I don't know. I don't live here. And they're like, oh my God, you can totally come home with me. Took off. So, which I completely understand. But I remember I was like, oh my God. So she's one of the people that stayed with me. And because I had her and then I had Aiden, Emma's brother, we all like walked together because they told us we all had to walk to Meyer. And so there's these groups of children, you know, coming at different times. And I remember Javon came and caught up with me. And my first thought was like, I need to get this phone charged so I can call my mom because she's probably texting me. And that's when I started to because I think it was on like 2%. I called you again as I was walking to Meyer, and they all had their arms around me because I was crying and stuff. And like a few other people were crying, but I think everybody was in so much shock that I cried for like a minute and then just stopped crying and was like, I need to get to where I'm going and find everybody.
I remember that. And that's what I'm thinking when you say about your phone. You say it sounds like a teenagery thing, but what I was thinking was that's probably because your phone is your connection to your people. You know, your phone. Yeah,
because I was like, if I can't get in contact with you, then I don't know what's gonna happen here.
Yeah. So, thank God. Okay. So, go ahead.
I said it's okay.
Yeah. So you were blessed to make it home to us. You know, we thank God for that.
And you didn't get to like 8:00.
Huh?
I said you didn't get to Emma's house until like 8:00.
Yeah, that traffic was horrible, and
everybody was like reuniting, and I'm like, "Where's my mom at?" Like, what's going on?
I remember. Thankfully, Carrie and what's Emma's dad's name?
Terry.
Carrie and Harry.
Carrie and Terry.
Carrie and Terry. Thankfully, Carrie and Terry were were hospitable to us, and made that very easy for me. Because when I got on the phone with her, she said, "Listen, you don't have to worry about your children until you can make it through, this mess. Don't worry about it. We got them.
And I didn't want to leave. I wanted to spend the night, and you were like,
yeah, that was crazy." She said, "Yeah, no, act like they home until when you can get here, then get here," because we don't even want to talk about the traffic and stuff. I don't even want to talk about that. But let's pick it up. So you get out unscathed, thank God, with the exception of needing therapy. And that, I probably need some myself, but with the exception of that. And so what happens? I want to talk about what happens with this Instagram post. You had an Instagram post. Was it Instagram or Twitter where you did this post that was
Instagram
that led to what we're going to talk about tonight? Tell me about that post.
Is that what led to it? I don't think that's what led to it.
But yeah, because you did an Instagram post.
Yeah,
and somebody took notice of it, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, because it's like a few people did Instagram posts, and a lot of them went like viral right around the same time.
But you did an Instagram. Tell us about the post. You don't have to go into a lot of detail, but just tell us a little bit about it and what happened as a result of it.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna look at it really quick because I haven't thought about that in a really long time. It's been a lot going on.
Okay, please share this feed if you are with us today, and feel free to ask your questions if you have questions.
You want me to read the post to you?
No, don't read the post. I just want you to give them a little bit of information. I want you to really get into the event. So let's just tell us a little bit about the post and what happened as a result of the post.
So the 4 people that passed away, I knew Justin probably the most. Like I knew him well, or more than I knew the other one. So I made a post with like all of their pictures that I'd seen like on the internet. Mm-hmm. And I posted a personal picture of Justin that I took of him and my friend who went to homecoming together. And so I made a post of like, 4 different pictures, but that one was a personal picture that I'd taken like on my phone and like when we were all together. And I wrote like a nice like little paragraph that I'd, put together just saying like I miss them and I'm so grateful for them and all that kind of stuff. And it went pretty big to the point to where because a few people made posts. So I think maybe it's the post or the people that made Instagram posts about what happened, like showcasing them and their friends. March for Our Lives reached out to those people to get them to speak at a rally in Lansing coming up. So they reached out to me. I know they reached out to my friend Emma, who made a post because her cousin had passed away. And they asked, could I speak at this, what's it called? This rally.
It was a rally
at the Michigan State Capitol. And so they asked me, and I remember I did not want to do it at all. And I wanted to stay at home and do what I was doing. And then both of my parents, but especially my dad was saying, we all know from Zoe Touray, most likely. So he said that he had a dream and he had seen me kind of doing the stuff that I'm doing right now with advocacy and being on the news and traveling and doing that kind of stuff. And we had no idea where that was coming from because nobody saw, what happened coming. So this is like months down the line. So right around February, and they had reached out to me a few times about it and I just didn't answer. And so I finally told my mom and my dad about it and they both shared their dreams and what they saw. And so I said yes, and I've just kind of been running with March for Our Lives ever since.
With March for Our Lives. So tell us a little bit about, I'm just going to show a picture while you're talking, but tell us a little bit, or at least share with us a couple of places or a few of the places that you've gone with March for Our Lives.
I went to DC for the first time for there was like probably thousands of marches, like littler, smaller marches all around the country. And then the biggest march is in DC. So that's where March for Our Lives was. But all the different chapters that are around the country for March for Our Lives, we all had one big day where we did that was the day of the march. But we had that going in DC. And so they invited me to the big DC one. So I got to travel out to DC for this march, and that was the day of. So it was my first time in DC. And I got to go again when I got invited to the White House for the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act that President Biden put out. And I got to bring my mom with me that time. So I was able to also travel to DC again. And then I also was just recently in Austin, Texas for a rally that they did with Uvalde families and survivors.
So I'm reading the front of this one that says, of course, despite the trauma or anger they felt in the wake of a tragic shooting, they've also found powerful ways to cope. And so that's really what tonight is all about. I wanted to make sure that we talked about the fact that
Sorry, Corey said don't play with Baba Touray. That was a good one. That was a good one.
We wanted to talk about the fact that she's been able to do something positive with her experience. Of course, we're very proud of the fact that she has been able to do that. But I think that I'm proud because she's my daughter. But I think I'm more proud of the fact that she's doing something with this. She's being resilient, right? That she's doing something positive with it, because what we've seen in our household, of course, and I'm sure Zoe don't mind me sharing. I don't think, but we have seen that she was dealing with some real post-traumatic stress. And cousin Cynthia, you see that? Mm-hmm. Cousin Cynthia said, "Hello, family. Sorry I'm late." You missed the story, Cynthia. She told her story.
Yeah.
But now we're talking about the fact that she has found an avenue to turn her pain into passion and power. So what I want her to do now is I want her to tell you a little bit about the C program, and her plans for that. And then finally, we're going to talk about an event that she is doing next month. So tell us about C, Zoe.
So the C program is something an initiative that I hope you can go back and see it too. It's something that I'm launching. It's kind of like a survivors network for people who have been through school-based gun violence specifically. So like school shooting survivors. So like Parkland, Sandy Hook, Columbine, anybody who really wants to get involved. I know St. Louis is like a really recent one, and I've been trying to work with people down there. So it all stemmed from when I got the chance to meet. Well, it really all started when I got to go to my first trip to DC. So I got the chance to meet survivors. Like the biggest one that I always love to name that they just helped me feel the most comfortable is X Gonzalez. So I got the chance to meet them when I was at my first DC march, and I remember we had
come a little closer because your voice is fading.
I remember we had like a really big scare at the DC march, the first one I went to, and so I remember calling my mom then too, and I was really scared and just really distraught about everything that was going on. And both X Gonzalez and then Sam Fuentes, who are both survivors of Parkland, but Sam Fuentes got shot. And so when I was dealing with both of them and that big scare happened, they were so tentative to me, even though they were going through their own emotions, because we had all had the scare of like another shooting. And even though it had been 4 years ago from them and like months for me, it was the same amount of like panic and fear that we all felt. And so to be at like an event full of survivors, and of course this big panic happens, like it was just the biggest amount of chaos and frenzy that I've ever been through. But we all came together to like comfort each other, despite like each of us going through our own thing. And for me at the time, I didn't get it because I was so worried about what I was going through. But everybody was, although they were crying, they were there to like comfort me. And so when I got the chance to meet all these different survivors and just to connect with all these different people who've been through the same thing as me, and just to be able to connect with people that are so free of judgment and don't necessarily look at you like you're a survivor of such a tragic incident, and they understand wholeheartedly what you went through, was a really important piece for me. And so I wanted other people to feel that love that I felt from other people that you may not even know. Like, for example, upon meeting X, I talked to them for probably like 2 hours, and it was my first encounter meeting them. And so I just wanted people to have that same feeling. So I started the C program, am starting the C program, which stands for Survivors Embracing Each Other. So that will be a program that's dedicated to making sure that other survivors can feel kind of the way I felt and have that connection to each other, pen pal programs or whatever, big brother, big sister type of program. But it also launches events like the one I have coming up in Uvalde that will help survivors connect to one another who have been in a similar incident. So for example, in this particular event, I'll have Oxford students going with me, which wasn't the plan at first, but worked out perfectly. So I'll have them to be able to connect to these younger kids and hopefully be role models for these younger kids who have also gone through something tragic, but at a much, much younger age.
So So I'm not sure exactly how much people got, but I just want to reiterate a little bit, and that is she was saying that when she went to DC for a march, that she was there with other survivors, whether they were Parkland shooting survivors or Columbine shooting survivors or Sandy Hook shooting survivors, and some idiot was there causing chaos and doing things that sounded like possible gunfire. So during the event, I remember that too. It was really interesting. I was on the phone with her because she was about to get up and speak, and she said, "I'm getting a little, there's way more people here than I imagined, And we were just kind of talking. Huh?
It wasn't the same day.
It wasn't the same day?
No, I spoke. It was like a day or either 2 days or a day before, and I was speaking at something. But that day I wasn't speaking. I was just I was getting on stage to stand behind somebody, but I didn't even know that yet.
Oh, wait. Okay, you're right. You know what I just remember? That
I remember I called you because I was scared to speak at that thing, though, at the National Mall, on the National Mall.
Right. But this is what I'm thinking about. This is why I'm mixing it up. The second time, right before this idiot did what they did, do you remember what? I don't know if you remember or not. I was watching you on television.
Yeah, you didn't tell me that until after you, I was just watching you. I saw the whole thing and I was like, huh?
Right. Because I was watching the news and the camera wasn't directly on you. The camera was on somebody else for some reason, but I saw you run to the tent, the whole bit.
Yeah, no, I didn't know that.
Yes. Me and your father was sitting there looking at, I want to say CNN. And I said, there's Zoe right there. So we could see you on the edge of the screen, and saw you when you ducked into the tent. It was crazy. But the point is, Zoe was just telling us that what she, experienced was a lot of love and a lot of care from those other survivors who had been survivors for longer than she had. And so I remember when she came home, she kept saying that. She kept saying, wow, even though, they were really there for me. It was like I was a little sister, but they were all there for me. And even in their own anguish, because they wasn't sure what was going on at first, that they still came and they protected and covered her from what could have been another danger. So I remember you saying, just saying how impressed you were about that, how comfortable you felt, especially since for that first trip, you didn't have any family there, but they
guys were like forever away. And I remember I was like, oh my God, I'm going to die without my parents with me. Like they're going to have to come get me from my body from DC. And I remember it was that's like a somber tone, but this is actually so funny. And I, even though I'm older, I would have said yes, I feel like if there wasn't Washington Post people there, but maybe as I get older. But there were these girls that had weed and they were in the back. And I remember after it happened, they were like, do you want to come smoke with us? And people were all going to smoke with them to calm themselves down. And I was like, no, I'm okay. But they were all going and they were like, come on, you need to calm down. And I was like, well, I have a Washington Post reporter with me, first of all. Second of all, maybe not this time.
Yeah. So that caused you to come up with the idea for the C program.
Yes.
And the C program, as it's being formulated, your first event will take place when?
November 19th.
November 19th. And tell us about that program, where it's going to be, who it's going to be for, when will it take place, and then how these people can participate in you with that program.
So after I got a chance to go to Austin for that rally in Austin, Texas, I got to meet some of these other survivors. Actually, no, I met my first Uvalde survivor when I took my mom to the White House. So when I took my mom to the White House, we met this I was with another Oxford friend.
Come closer.
I was with another Oxford friend and we met this young girl. Her name's Chloe from Uvalde, and she's a survivor. And she was telling us about how she had acrylic nails kind of like mine right now. And she was talking, they were purple and black. And we were asking her oh, your nails are so cute. Why'd you get them done that way? And she said her best friend had passed away and those are her best friend's favorite colors.
Her best friend passed away in the Uvalde shooting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, could you not? Sorry. But so her best friend had passed away in that shooting. And so I just thought it would be really cool to get them together because when I was in Austin, I also met another young girl. Her name's Caitlin, and she happened to lose her best friend too. And she also had her nails done in those colors, her best friend's colors. And her nails were so cute too. But upon meeting like those younger survivors, I kind of wanted to be a role model for them, and not to necessarily put that on them, but I just thought it'd be really cool to be kind of like a big sister type, and to know that they have me, just how like these Parkland survivors are like 20 and I'm 8, like 22, 23, and I'm 18, and I had them to look up to as like kind of big siblings in like shared tragedy. And so I put together this Uvalde event, and so it is going to be called what is it called? Survivors United Play Day. And so it'll be kind of like, I don't know if everyone knows what a field day is. I know that I had them when I was growing up, but
I think they do.
Okay, I always ask people that, and they're like, Zoe, we're not that old. Like, I just don't know how long like field days were.
You should explain it.
Okay, so basically field days is like this really big day where like you got to like not necessarily skip school, but you got to go outside during school hours and have all these different fun events in one big day. And so we would use, like, the school used to get shirts made, and it would say like Walton Charter Academy Field Day 2022, or like whatever year it was. And so it'll be kind of like a field day for them, and they get to do a bunch of different activities like tug of war, like there might be a soccer game, we might have like hacky sack, a bunch of little different stations. We're going to get shirts made so that they can tie-dye shirts. I got the therapy animals of San Antonio to do an appearance, so they'll have those therapy animals there for them. Uvalde Wingstop will be catering, and we will have the Oxford IB Legacy Program, which is a program that Oxford students started after the tragedy. And so, and so they'll be there, and they will be helping me for like with the event, but they'll also be there to kind of like be those bigger support people and those big sister, big brother types to these kids as well. And so there'll be a lot of different events. I made a Facebook fundraiser for it. That's what my mom's showing now. And so, yeah, I'm super excited about it. That'll be November 19th, 3 to 8, Uvalde, Texas, at the Civic Center. And any way that you guys can help would be just to donate to make sure these kids have the best day possible. And we're super excited about it. So I'm super excited to see all my little friends again.
So what I think is very powerful, let me just stop sharing for a second. Well, no, I can leave it there. So Zoe, can you see all three pics, me, you, and the
Yes.
screen? Perfect. Let's see right there. What I think is very powerful is that you have an opportunity to make a difference with, like you said, there's the very same thing that X and Sam and some of the others were able to do to you as a brand new survivor. The fact that you all can you can go to these babies and do the same thing for these babies that they were able to do for you. Your cousin Davine said, "Awesome, Zoe."
Thank you.
Miss Eartha said, "Present, doing a great job, Zoe and Mom."
Thank you.
Thank y'all very much. I'm gonna tell you what I noticed when we were in DC. I thought that was fabulous. When we were in DC, we were of course headed into the White House, and one of Zoe and another one of her girlfriends, who was also a survivor, was with us. Miss Corey said, "Go Zoe, we see you."
Mm-hmm.
Was also with us, and we see this little girl with her parents or people who appear to be her parents sitting over on the side.
Mm-hmm.
When she saw Zoe and them come by, I saw her. She didn't see me. I saw her. I saw her excitement. She was just kind of like, and she had on a shirt that said Uvalde, right? And at some point, I'm not sure exactly how y'all saw her, but they realized that this little girl wanted their attention, and they went over to talk to her. And here she was in DC, her and her parents on their own dime. They traveled to DC because it was a celebration of some gun control legislation, and that's why Zoe was invited too, because of her work as an advocate. But the fire in the little girl's eyes when she saw Zoe and her girlfriend, I thought that was so awesome. She was just excited to see them and I know why, because she connected with them. They had been through the same thing. So when Zoe said to me that she wanted to be able to go and she wanted to be able to share with these kids the same thing that she experienced, I thought that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So this is interesting. I'm gonna say this, Zoe. I don't think I said this to you yet. I said it to somebody the other day. Your father told me, he said when I didn't even know that he had this conversation with my mom. I might have told you this part. There's another.
You get an idea in your head?
Exactly. Exactly. And it hit me the other day when I realized, oh, she got that, right? Because my husband told me one time, he said, I didn't know my mother and my husband had this conversation before she passed. He said, your mother told me, she said, let me just tell you something about Vicky. If Vicky say to you, if you hear these words, I was thinking about, he said, my mom said, if you hear I was thinking about, whatever she getting ready to say, you might as well hang it up. It's already done. It's just a matter of time before she walk it out, right? And he said, he was like, what? And she said, yeah, if she say to you, I'm thinking about, you might as well get on the boat, because she just haven't worked out the details. But I'm telling you, whatever she said, I'm thinking about, she doing more than thinking about. It's about to happen, right? I didn't know that they had that conversation. So when my mother passed, my husband came to me and told me that, and I laughed. I said, I know my mother told you that, because she used to say the same thing to me. I know she told you that. So I didn't think about it until the other day when somebody asked me, how did this whole Uvalde thing come to be, And I said, well, one day me and Zoe was talking, and she said to me, wouldn't it be nice if, and when I said that, it hit me. I said, she did the exact same thing that mama said that I do. It's like, she said to me, wouldn't it be nice if, she said, if we get with the kids in Uvalde, and like a lot of kids from here that, experience the same thing would go to Uvalde and then do like a really nice, like a field day or some kind of event where we could get with them and spend time with them. And I was like, yeah, that would be nice. About 2 weeks later, Zoe said to me, I think I'm getting ready to raise the money. I'm going to raise the money, and I think we could just do this. I said, wait, what, huh? When I looked up, Zoe had created a Facebook, which is what I'm sharing with you all right now. She had created this and started collecting money. I was like, oh, I guess we're going to Uvalde. I guess the next thing I know, she told me she had a $7,000 budget, and I looked, and it was like $2,000 already in the pot. I said, wait, what? I guess we're going to Uvalde. Oh, huh. Then I start saying, well, when are we going? Because clearly we're going to Uvalde. And she started telling me, yeah, we're going to leave this day, and we're going to do that. I said, what? Next thing I know, she tells me, Mom, our tickets are done. I got our tickets. I said, oh, well, what day we leave it? So I'm saying that to say, first of all, I'm very proud of the way she did it. But the other thing is, not only for her, but just what I know it's going to be for them babies when they get there. And so when I realized that she was very serious about it, that's when I decided I have to do what I can to help. And my way of helping is to bring her here today and to introduce her to my people and her vision to my people. So this is where I'm asking y'all to help my baby with her Uvalde fundraiser. She is going to Uvalde. I'm going to, because I'm working. She's putting me to work. And I don't mind, because y'all know I do this kind of thing anyway. So I don't mind at all. But we're going to go and give these babies the best time we possibly can in a one-day period. Since then, 17 students, Oxford High School approved for 17 students, and it looks like 6 parents or 6 advisors to go as well. And they're going to make sure they have the money for it, for them to go and to assist. So not only is she going to go and have this and create this event for them, but she's going to go with a team of 17 plus 6 people to assist us or to assist her in bringing this play day, Survivors United play day, to these babies. So here is the information. It's called Survivors United Play Day. Food, games, they're having Wingstop. Little Caesars is doing a donation. They're bringing food down. She's got DJ. She's got tables and chairs and so on and so forth. Cousin Cynthia says, that is awesome, Zoe. Everything definitely happens for a reason. Yes, even in the worst of tragedy. Walk in your purpose, young lady.
Thank you.
Gwendolyn McCullough says, fabulous, Zoe and Vicky. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. I've been reading these before you. I already said thank you.
Well, I want to get her props. Auntie Cherie said, so proud of you, Zoe. And of course, Miss Corey said, go, Zoe, we see you. Davine said, awesome, Zoe. And you heard Miss Earthers too, doing a great job. So this is an opportunity for you all to help. And I have put the link to this Facebook, what is it called, fundraiser, in the chat. So please grab that and assist in any way you can. I'm going to put it in again. You may have to copy it and go to the page, but I'm putting there for you all to assist in this event. There are new, Cynthia said, when is this? I want to meet you guys there. What? What?
Wait, what?
Cousin Cynthia said she want to meet us there. Oh,
November 19th.
Tell her.
No, I just did. November 19th. This is November 19th from 3 to 8. I'll send you the like information in the flyer, but I'll make sure I send it to you too.
Oh, that is awesome.
I would love that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's 3 to 8. It's going to be at
the Uvalde Civic Center.
Uvalde, what is it called? Sergeant
SGT Willie De Leon Civic Center.
Sergeant De Leon.
Willie De Leon.
Willie De Leon. Yep. Civic Center in Uvalde, Texas. So this is what we need you all to do to participate in any way that you can. But of course, donations will help because there are quite a few fees for what she's doing. She also has some surviving parents who are going to participate and assist and volunteer. So it should be a wonderful opportunity. Oh, cousin Pee Wee, that's cousin Pee Wee, Gwendolyn McCullough. That's Aunt Sue's daughter, Zoe.
Oh,
yes. So since you hear that, Pee Wee on here. So it's just going to be a great opportunity to really love on these families and just love on them. That's it.
And even if you can't donate, please share, because I've been telling you already the same thing. So I definitely want to make sure.
And say that again for the people in the back.
Stop them. I was saying, even if you can't donate anything, which I totally get, then please share and make sure that others donate. I would very greatly appreciate it. Sorry, I was fixing my camera. I very greatly appreciate it. I'm definitely making sure to tell other people that too, because we just want to make sure that our younger survivors have a really, really great time. And it's kind of like a mental health, or at least what a kid thinks of mental health, like a day for that, like them. So
absolutely,
I would greatly appreciate it.
She even has, which, I'm excited about this. She even has she has contacted a therapist. So there will be a therapist or some therapists on site. She has, she's going to have therapy animals on site, right?
Mm-hmm.
That have already signed on. Zoe, tell them a little bit about your experience with the therapy dogs at Oxford.
Love them. Love them. Whenever people ask me about my experience, I don't know how to put it into really, really big, smart words because I try to make everything sound super smart. But I just had such an amazing experience with the therapy dogs. They just helped me in so many different ways. They helped me feel a lot more calm when I was at school. They helped me feel a lot more loved. And one thing that we talked about today when I had an interview earlier today with one of the Oxford IB teachers is that when you lay with therapy dogs, the therapy dogs can kind of tell when you're in a down mood or what students need more help. And so I remember a specific story because one day I was in a classroom and it was after everything that happened, but it was 7th hour. We were all getting ready to go home. And I skipped towards the end of senior year, especially because of the shooting, nobody really cared where you were. So I was skipping 7th hour a lot, but my work would be done. But I would just kind of skip class a lot. And my teacher would know most of the time that I was going to a different classroom. And I was in a classroom sitting and I wasn't having a really good day. I was kind of sad and down. And one of my favorite therapy dogs, Riker, came into the classroom they have handlers for each of the dogs. And so it came in and laid with me and let me we just kind of cuddled on the floor and we were talking about it. And the handler, I was talking to her and I was thanking her for bringing Riker into the classroom and telling her basically, I'm so glad you came in. And I was talking to the dog. I said, I'm so glad you came in because I needed this today. And I remember the handler was saying, "Oh, we needed you too. We really appreciate it." And she loved it so much that she took a picture of us laying together on the floor. And she said that she was going to keep that picture forever. And I was in Oxford probably a couple weeks ago for a meeting for something. And the same dog came with the handler. And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so happy to see you." And she goes, "Oh my God, I remember you." And I said, "What do you mean?" And she said she remembered me because of that day. And she repeated exactly what I told the dog back then, which was, "I'm so glad you came in today. I really needed you." And she pulled up the picture because she still had it. And that was like last year. So I was so honored by that. And then she started saying how proud of me she was because of everything that happened. So she was saying that she was so proud of my advocacy, and her and Riker have been watching from home. And I really appreciated that.
So I just wanted to share that because I just wanted you to know, I just wanted to reiterate how important it is, clearly, how therapeutic it is to have the dogs, and the fact that you're going to have the animals, more than dogs.
They have bunnies and cats and all.
They said bunnies too, right?
Yeah, bunnies. So therapy bunnies, therapy cats, therapy dogs. And I think there's like one more thing. I can't remember what it is. Like therapy lizards or something like that.
Really?
It's one's like a little Komodo dragon, something like that.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that. Auntie Cherie says that okay, right here. I'm sorry.
So you're looking at the wrong one.
I'll call you this week, Vicky. I prefer to do a cash donation. Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And Auntie Keija said, "I'm so proud of you."
Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna take some time and say this too for ever still on here though, because whenever people say they're proud of me, and like my mom will tell me, so thank you all so much for saying that. So I appreciate it because I don't get a chance to say it to a lot of like my aunts and uncles and stuff like that face to face. So thank you so much.
Awesome. So please share this feed, you all. Thank you for coming tonight. I don't think we'll hold you much longer. If you have a question though, it's a great time to ask it. I'll give it another maybe 10 minutes and we will close it out for the night. But please share, as Zoe's asked you, please share the feed with as many people as you can. We will
or even just a donation.
Say again?
I said, or even just a donation.
Or even just a donation, right? Because money always spends, and she's gonna need it. There's a lot of things that have to be put in place. Some of which she's already began. So we're very happy about that, but we have not completed. And as of right now, let me see what the okay. So as of right now, we're at 2715, and she has a cap of 7,000 and 14 days left. So, and the last person to donate was Mr. Dominique.
Yep.
So, so again, this is a Facebook donation page, and so you can always find it on Facebook. You can go straight to Zoe's page, or you can go to hers. It's not on mine, but it is on hers. And again, the link is right here in the chat. I'll drop that one more time. If you have a question, now is the time. We got about 4 minutes or so. Zoe, is there anything else you'd like to tell people before you go?
I'm so thankful for the support and everything that I've gotten. So I know that, although like I'm proud of you, and thank you to everybody who showed up at the grad party, because I know that was a really big thing for me, and I didn't get to send out personal thank yous because there was so much going on. So thank you so much for that. And although some of these people may not be on here, I know, like we talked about in the beginning, I remember Jalivia reaching out to me the day of the shooting, and Omisha reaching out to me. So, and I know Auntie Tanya and Auntie Mary, just a lot of different people that reached out to me the day of, even after, but especially that day of when I was having the hardest time. Mm-hmm. Oh, Auntie Tanya literally just texted me. Okay. Well, if you're still on here, thank you so much, because I remember you also reaching out to me the day of, and I really didn't need that as much as I didn't realize that I needed it at the time. So thank you.
Who was that?
Auntie Tanya. I was just mentioning her. She just texted me.
Oh, okay.
She just said I watched the entire thing, but I didn't know how to comment. Great job, and I will be donating. Well, if you're still on here, thank you so much. And to you and Mimi too. But thank you to everybody for showing up today as well. So if you have a question, whatever question, I'm here to answer it for like the next 3-4 minutes or 5. However many minutes? What'd you say? How many minutes?
We'll give it another 4 minutes. We'll shut down at 9:40. It's 9:31 right now. So I'm sorry. We'll shut down at 9:35. We'll give it another 4 minutes.
Okay. Well, I'm here to answer any questions, but thank you so much.
Also, I'd like to let you all know that if you didn't know it already, um, Zoe has a lot of press right now. Um, she is a national spokesperson for March for Our Lives. So she has a lot of press out there. She's had almost every platform, that major platform, including CNN. She's got 2 articles in the Washington Post, one full page. Well, actually, it's more than a page, a 2, 3 front page. She got front page Washington Post on the during her DC trip. And then one recently that came out a couple of days ago. She has another Washington Post spread. She has CNN, NBC. I'm saying all that to say, not to brag. I'm saying all that to say that she is putting in the work. That's my point. Putting in the work to make sure that she can assist in any way. That I'm very proud of. She's delving into two areas that she's at, her advocacy in 2 areas. One in gun control, as well as mental health for survivors. So plenty more to come, but that is what she's focusing in on now. And she doesn't have, she only has a couple months to focus only on this, because in January she leaves for North Carolina A&T, where she will be a freshman at North Carolina A&T. So a lot going on, but in the meantime, she's focusing on what's going on with survivors. So very happy about that. We're down to 1 minute, and then we are going to let you all go. And we've been out all day, so we will go home and rest.
You want to tell them about today?
Well, I played chauffeur today because her car is acting up. So I've been taking her all around for interviews, and we finished tonight with an interview with Mommy.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, channel 4 today.
Channel 4 today. Yeah.
So they'll go out soon about the event and donating and helping the Oxford kids get there as well, because they'll be going.
Yeah. So that's it. It's 9:34. So I want to do this. I want to take a moment of and give a moment of silence for those parents who, like I said, don't have their children with them tonight, who may have lost children in either whether it be Oxford or another, because there are plenty, unfortunately there have been, several school shootings even since the Oxford shooting. So I just want to take a moment and reverence them with, no, I'm not going to do a moment of silence. I'm just going to pray is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to leave with that. I would like to leave with a prayer for those parents. So we are very thankful today for the opportunity to have this conversation with Zoe. Thank you, God, for that. Thank you for that. Thank you for sparing her life. However, we're asking for your peace. We're asking for your peace that surpasses all understanding. We realize that everyone does not have the opportunity to do what we're doing here today. So, God, we just ask for a blanket of peace on those parents that have lost, those parents and family members that have lost either their children or their wives or their husbands or any of their loved ones to school violence, particularly tonight in this country. God, we ask for your complete protection going forward, Lord. And those things that we cannot change, we don't have the ability to change, Lord. I just ask that you would give us what we need to withstand that which that we have to, that we don't have a choice but to do. As they sleep, Lord, we just ask that you would give them, again, unsurpassable peace that that they don't understand, but they can certainly use. And that's all. Amen.
Amen. Are you crying?
Good night, everyone.
Don't cry.
I do see one comment, so let me see if we answer that before we shut down.
It's not a question.
Thank you, God. Remember those families that lost their kids. Absolutely. Thank you all tonight. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for spending this time with us. Thank you for spending this time with us. Share this feed, and we will see you all. Some of y'all and Uvalde. All right.
Thank you.
Have a great night and a wonderful weekend. We are on our way out. And it won't be long. Let's make it now. Thanks for hanging out with 3T. Now, you can help us build this platform by simply taking a moment to like, share, comment, and subscribe.